Hi everyone, Liam and Carl here from presentationexpressions.com. So today, Carl, I thought we'd talk about how to escape fear when presenting.
Oh, that's a very good idea, actually, because
Yeah.
I think the fear of presenting is probably one of the top fears that people have.
Well, in fact, it is one of the top fears. People fear different things like spiders, heights, financial problems, and of course death.
Yeah, most people would fear death, I think.
But actually, fear is actually, if not number one, number two.
Fear of presenting, you mean?
Fear of presenting,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, number
Fear of
one and number
presenting.
two. Okay,
Yeah.
speaking in front of a group or whatever.
Right, a lot of people really fear this.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a really good idea to talk about this today, then.
Yeah, I mean, and I experienced this quite early on in my career, but
Okay.
thankfully I've overcome this problem.
Okay. Okay. So what have you done to overcome it? So, how do you overcome fear?
Okay, good question. Okay, well, I've put together 6 easy steps here
Okay.
to help people out there, overcome their fear. And so, first step, easy step number 1.
Mm-hmm.
What's the purpose of your presentation?
Okay, so you want to know why you're presenting.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
you must know the purpose of your presentation. That's
Okay.
very important.
Okay. How do they do that? Is there some way to do that really easy?
Sure. For instance, I'm always able to express my presentations in 1 or 2 sentences.
Okay, so short way to describe what you're going to talk about in a short form, so to speak.
Yeah. So this is a great way to remember the theme of your presentation, of course.
Okay. Okay.
And it keeps you focused, which will reduce your fear.
Okay, sure. That probably would if you're focused on what you're actually doing.
No, definitely. You lose focus, that fear jumps in there and grabs you.
Okay, so what about easy step number 2 then? What would that be?
Okay. So next, what is the subject of your presentation?
Okay. Okay, the subject of your presentation. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Well, the unknown is the greatest fear when presenting.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to happen and so on. So sometimes it is easy to feel like you can't control all aspects of your presentation.
Because you don't really know where you're going and what you're supposed to be talking about.
Okay, but of course you can and you should control that subject.
Okay. And how do you do that then? What does that do, and how do you do that?
Well, I find that I can eliminate this problem by knowing as much as possible about the subject.
Okay.
And of course, by knowing this gives me the complete confidence in my presentations.
Okay, so know all about your subject before you even present.
Absolutely. The more you know about the subject, the more confident you will be when you're giving that presentation.
Okay, good step. Okay, good tip. Number 3 then, easy step number 3. What would that be?
Okay. Very simple. If you begin well, the rest will follow.
If you begin well, the rest will follow. Exactly what do you mean by that?
Okay, well, when I've given presentations in the past,
Mm-hmm.
I find the most worrying part was the first few minutes.
The start, you mean, just to get started.
Definitely, when you stand up and you've got all those people in front of you.
Sure, that's a big fear. You see all those people, you kind of get a little nervous at that point.
Yeah, dry throat, you get all that happening. So, but remember, easy step number 1, I mentioned that your presentation should have a single theme that can be expressed in 1 or 2 sentences.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
So use those sentences as your opening.
Okay, so use whatever your purpose is to open your presentation so that you have a good beginning.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if it helps, learn the sentences off by heart.
Okay, so memorize the sentences. Okay.
Right. And as you know, Carl, very importantly, tell your audience how long you'll speak for. When you plan to take questions, and if there are any handouts at the end.
So tell them exactly what to expect.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
And this will help you overcome your fear of presenting, and after that you will feel more comfortable as you begin to settle into the presentation
So you're
itself.
telling them, what you're going to talk about, what they're going to expect, but at the same time, you're actually making yourself, understand what you're going to talk about and what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
So you kind of set yourself up to succeed.
Yeah, knowing your subject, remember.
Okay, very good. Easy step number 4.
Okay, this is a really important one, as they all are, but I especially like to stress this one, is knowing who your audience is.
Okay. As in being very specific about the people, like individually, or what do you mean, as a group? Or?
Okay, well, when people first told me this, I actually really didn't know how to find out about my audience, but it's actually very, very easy.
Okay.
If someone has asked you to do a presentation, then simply ask them about the audience. Who are they? What do they do? Why are they here? Things like that. If you're presenting to your boss, then hopefully you'll already know them.
Hopefully you know them. Right.
Yeah, you know. Once you know who your audience is and what they expect from your presentation, you can then tailor your presentation to their needs.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So, a very, very quick example here because we don't have much time, but if you're going around the country presenting to different kinds of audiences, tweak that presentation a little bit for every audience.
Okay.
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 And so, if your audience is senior managers, technical personnel, or a sales team, okay, the audience composition should guide you in the words that you choose and the examples you use to illustrate your points.
So if you're talking to, say, engineers or science people, you want to sort of give more facts and figures and things like that. The maybe managers, they just want the results. They want to know the main point of what you're trying to say.
Definitely. So, and after you know what your audience requires, the more focused your presentation becomes, and the greater chance of delivering a good presentation.
Okay, great. Okay, very good. Okay. Easy step number 5, please.
Okay, connect with your audience.
Okay. Okay.
If a friend asked you about your presentation, Carl, you could probably talk to them for some time without feeling nervous.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the problem many people have, of course, is doing this in front of an audience. This often sends many presenters into a panic mode, the cold sweat, you know.
So how do they overcome that?
Well, try to give the presentation as if it were a one-on-one conversation.
Okay, so as in someone is just asking you to talk about it, like your friend is asking you to talk about, I don't know, the economy or something, and so you just say, the economy, well, you know, hey, it's pretty simple.
Absolutely, treat your audience like friends.
Okay.
Of course, you want them to take you seriously, of course, but that doesn't mean to say you have to be overly formal.
Okay, so professional, but you don't have to be a robot.
No, absolutely not. And you know, we've mentioned this before, so
right, be natural.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So that'll help you to overcome that sort of fear of not being able to connect with the people.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so if you know they're your friend, then it's easier. And finally, easy step number 6.
Okay, final one. Slow down just a bit.
Okay, why?
Okay, when we're nervous, we tend to speak more quickly.
Ah, yeah, right, sure.
Yeah,
everybody does that.
Especially if English is your second language. You know, people do this. You know, so slow down just a little bit.
Good idea. Okay. So they can concentrate more. They're not worrying so much about their English. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if I'm doing a presentation for the very first time, I make an effort to slow down. I actually tell myself, Liam, slow down a little bit.
Liam, slow down a little bit.
I tell myself exactly.
That works very well, actually, yes.
Okay, so a good way to remember this is to allow about 1 slide for every 2 minutes of presentation. But, of course, this can vary slightly, depending on what you're presenting.
And also depending on the time limit you may have, too.
Sure.
You have to think about that. So slow down and also maybe adjust your presentation to fit that sort of slower pace that you'll be going at.
Yes. And so remember, give the audience time to digest new information. That's important.
Okay.
Give them time to look at those slides, and that actually gives you time to think clearly.
And to breathe, too, to help relax a little
That's
bit.
Right. That's right, yes.
More, right?
Absolutely. Okay,
good. So do you have some sort of action steps for everyone?
We do, yeah. Get together with a friend or colleague. Very easy. Give them a subject for a presentation. Okay. Number 2, you both know your subjects. Okay, so give a short presentation to each other. You know, limit it to 2 or 3 minutes. We know you're all busy people out there.
Okay.
And make sure your friend or colleague use all of those 6 easy steps.
Right. Use those 6 steps that we just talked about, or Liam just introduced, as kind of a checklist.
Yes.
You know, go through each step and make sure that the person has done them, so that they're over. And you can check. You know, were you scared?
No, really. You know, tell us if it works.
Yeah. That help you overcome your fear. So, yeah, good.
I think that's it for today, Carl. Okay. So thanks again, everybody, for listening. And leave us a comment or feedback. Tell us what you think.
Sounds good. Thank you.